삼라만상, the new achievement title. In English, it means all things in nature, but the way I would translate it, the world. The World is the new title coming out with the achievement system overhaul included in the 2025 July update. It is nothing more than an orange title with a pretty icon. And to obtain it, you have to engage in weeks, if not months, of mindless grinding. Yes, this one is for those who lack self-respect and have nothing better to do with their time. But if for whatever reason this pursuit interests you, let me offer you some advice on your quest to obtain what is perhaps the most degenerate title, and at the same time the most giga-chat title in Lost Ark. Let's start with an overview of requirements. To obtain this title, you need to obtain a total of 40,000 achievement experience points. With the new update, each achievement will provide you with either 20, 30, or 50 points depending on their grade. Gray ones are 20, green ones are 30, and blue ones are 50 points. Here, grades do not necessarily correspond to difficulty, so there will be blue ones that are easy to do and gray ones that are really hard. Note also that achievements that have become legacy status do not count towards your experience points, with legacy here referring to achievements that cannot be accomplished in the current state of the game. So achievements related to content pieces that have been removed, such as GVG or Boss Rush, Platinum Field, will not count. 40,000 achievement XP. This corresponds to around 87% of non-legacy achievements. Now, 87% of achievements might seem like a lot, and quite frankly it is. To give you an idea of how to reach 87%, let's do a breakdown of achievement categories. There are 8 categories in total. Let me comment on each of them. Special achievements. This category includes achievements for collectibles such as Island Souls and Giant Hearts, and those are easily done. But then we have Hell modes. Now you might be wondering, do you need to do Hell modes to get the title? The answer is no, you don't have to, because you can definitely get enough XP without doing them. However, Hell modes do give you a lot of XP, and so if you happen to have them done, it removes some of the workload in other categories. Consider them as nice bonus points. Adventure. You pretty much can and should complete 99% of this category. This means 100% Ignia tokens, 100% music box, 100% playing tunes. Now, among the island achievements, there are some that are difficult to get, like the Drumbeat Hammer achievement, which has low probability, and Yearning Island Soul, which is near impossible. You don't need to have those done, so just try to get as close as possible to 99% in this category. To provide a few tips, at Punica there is an achievement for spacebarring 500 times on a surfing board. For this one, if you go south of the Nia Village's main square hall, there are 2 surfing boards that are at a spacebar distance from each other. If you ride a new mount, the spacebar cooldown is reset, so just keep rotating between these 2. For Shangri Island, there are 2 quests that you have to complete 108 times each for some XP. This used to take a very long time because the island was time-locked. That is no longer the case. You can now enter the island at any time of the day, and the kicker is that you can complete the quests on different characters on the same day, and it will all count towards the achievement. This means that if you place Bifrosts at Shangri on multiple characters, you can speed up the process by that many characters. For instance, if you have 8 characters doing Shangri, it will take you 2 weeks. For Island of Opportunity, which is the fishing island, there is an achievement for getting first place 3 times. What really helps with this one is getting a relic fishing rod with cast rank 10 and gathering speed option. It just obliterates any sort of competition. In my case, I got a really good rod and finished this achievement by getting first place 3 times on the same day. Now, here's an important one. There are some achievements for which you require the cooperation of others. Some examples are the Aporas Ninja Turtle achievement, defeating the Chuos at Vergris Island, and the Lai Lai Island Festival Champ. The way we tackle such achievements in KR is usually through the Achievement Discord, where we recruit players for achievements, share information, and provide assistance to one another. This is especially useful since communication in-game tends to be limited. I myself was able to complete a lot of the achievements through the resources provided by the server, and so I believe it will be important for achievement hunters in the West to develop a unified form of this kind. I know that there are already a few Discord servers dedicated to achievements out there, so I hope players will come together to keep up these efforts. Character. This category is your last resort, which you do after exhausting everything you can do in the other tabs. There are a lot of points to be earned, but the achievements here tend to be extremely grind intensive. Examples are using a particular skill 1,000 times, 3,000 times, and some even 5,000 times. And of course, no, using skills in Trixion does not count. Now, those achievements are easily done if you regularly play the class as part of your main roster, but if you don't, you will have to grind the skill from scratch. First off, you want to check the skill achievements for classes that you do regularly play and try to use those skills in content such as Corzon Frontline and Cubes. In my case, I've been using the Hyper Awakening that I normally wouldn't use. In order to farm skills for classes that you don't have, here's the trick. You'll need at least one empty character slot. Make a character for the target class and knowledge transfer it to North Fern. It will only cost you 600 gold and you'll end up with a 500 eye level character. This will allow you to do all skill achievements, barring the hyper-related ones. Once you're done farming skill achievements, delete the character and make one for another class. Rinse and repeat. So how do you farm skills efficiently? Well, for most skill achievements, you'll be able to abuse the Stronghold attraction feature to complete them. Shout out to Lu Mang for sharing about this in his 삼라만상 video. Go to your Stronghold with the class in question. Go to the attraction menu by pressing Ctrl 7 and make a racing map. Note that it has to be racing. Once you're on the map, every time you start or stop the attraction, all your cooldowns will be reset. So use your skills, press the start stop button, and then click on the check button or press enter on your keyboard to confirm. A great tip here is that you can assign one of your side buttons on your mouse to perform the enter function to simplify your course of actions. Another tip is that the cooldown reset applies 2 seconds after you press the confirm button, so you can press confirm first and then use the skill to make the rotations faster and also cancel skill animation. This part will make more sense if you tried yourself. Each 1,000 skills will cost you around 40 to 50 minutes, which might seem like a lot, but just think of it as one Netflix special or 2 anime episodes. It will make it much easier. Now, what about skills that require meter in order to use? For instance, War Dancer has a lot of those. Well, there are a few ways, but they are not as great as farming skills in Stronghold Attraction. Basically, you will have to lower your power level and go to places like Star Sand Beach at Punica or Shadow Island, where there are a lot of mob spawns. You can also farm those skills in Chaos Dungeon or Cubes. Now, Cubes can be great, especially if you get the cooldown reduction buffs, but there is a time limit, so you'll have to control your pace. What about Hyper Awakening? Personally, I don't recommend grinding this one, as it takes way too much time, but if you want to know, you can go to Tower, floor number 31. The monsters there are invincible, so even if you hit them, you won't be able to gain meter, but you will be able to gain Hyper Gauge. You can use skills, build Hyper Gauge, use your Hyper Awakening, exit the floor, rinse and repeat. Here's one tip regarding a particular set of achievements. On Gunlancer, Scouter, and Artillerist, there are achievements for shielding party mates 500 times. What we tend to do in KR for those is we make a room in the North Fern Abyss dungeon and advertise in the achievement Discord. Once the room fills up, we enter the dungeon and spam skills at the workshop. It is best to prep a full swift max cooldown setup with gems and magic stream for this. You can also work on other skills apart from the shield while at it. Once everyone is done, we part ways. Trade skills. This category should be completed 100%. The only tricky one is the 1000 excavation minigame one, which can take quite a while and cost a lot of life energy. Wartorn. For this one, you might be wondering whether you need to do PvP. The answer is, you don't. Just complete some of the easy ones and forget about it. The requirements are too high and PvP is just really difficult to get into and enjoy. So basically, the Wartorn category should be completed 100% minus the PvP achievements. Now, special emphasis on the dual tab achievements. They provide a lot of points for a few hours of grinding. They are a must-do in that regard. Set up a time slot with someone who is willing to do the grind with you. The key here is to use macro commands. So Control 1/duel, Control 2/give up. One thing to know is that you cannot request duel while in combat status. However, the sharpshooter hawk damage does not put you in combat status. So definitely try to work on those achievements using sharpshooters so that you can request duels without any delay and speed up the process. Another tab to highlight is Guardians. Those include 50 kills on each Guardians and then some with special requirements. One tip I can provide is that unless you have a gunslinger in your main roster, you should try to farm Guardian achievements on one because she has a skill achievement where she needs to use her Eye of Twilight on a single enemy 500 times, and Guardians are a great way to farm this. Raids, complete 100%. The achievements in this category are not easy since some are skill-based, such as Deathlesses on all raids, but just work hard and get it done. Special emphasis on Argos and Abyss Dungeon achievements. Those are really grindy, but they offer a lot of points. You really need to get these done 100%, but the hardest part is to gather people who are willing to grind them out. This is why having an active achievement Discord will be very important for Western achievement hunters. Sailing. You should get this done 100% except for the RNG drops. The RNG here includes the 4 notorious sea bounties and some sailors. These have horrible drop rates and rumor has it that it takes a year of grind or even more to get them all. So those will be a long-term project. In the meanwhile, you can work on things that are within reach, starting with boats. The biggest tip I can offer regarding the boat achievements is that you can purchase the upgrade materials in your Stronghold using the Stronghold tokens. They do cost a lot, so keep sending expeditions to gather more tokens. Sailing co-op. There's not much to say, just do it as much as you can. One interesting thing in KR is that since the achievement update, the number of people participating in co-op has gone up to the point where it's difficult to get into Channel 1. I guess that's one of the great aspects of this update and providing motivation to grind out horizontals. Honestly, it baffles me every time I see so many people grinding out this tasteless content. One last tip for sailing. Keep going to Monty Island. There's a sailor named the Retina that you need to get from that island for one of the achievements. You need 900 Monty Island tokens to purchase her. The problem is that you can only get between 20 to 30 tokens each time you participate, which means that you'll have to go to Monty Island at least 30 times in order to get her. This will be a long-term project, so get going. Stronghold. You should get all the achievements here done, excluding the 150 dresses, which is pay to win, and the 10k Stronghold likes, which is near impossible in the West because of player count. Gonna have to wait for the game to get popular again. Hidden. There are 162 hidden achievements available in the Western version, and you should be able to do 100% of them. Most of them are easily done, and here are tips for 2 particular ones. Delicate Control. For this one, you need to clear the hoverboard exam in the dungeon in Nebelhorn of Ardathine, but you have to get hit fewer than 5 times. The trick is to party up with one other person, and you take turns clearing. One person stays at the starting line, and the other finishes the track. Once they reach the end, the person who was waiting at the start will be teleported to the finish line, and they will have cleared the exam without getting hit. Getting too competitive. For this one, you will need to fail 15 competition quests. The trick for this one is to park your character at Fermata Island before going to sleep. This allows you to farm the achievement with no effort. Lastly, let me provide some tips on how to lower your character power level. A lot of achievements require you to enter content from tiers 1 to 3, and if your character is too strong, you will end up killing enemies before being able to fulfill requirements. For such achievements, it's best to prepare a character that has not done any Transcendence. This is because while you can strip your character from everything else, you cannot take off Transcendence unless you take off the gear piece entirely. In some cases, having some Transcendence is okay, but you'll at least have to take off pants because of successor strength procs. If you need low-level gear, you can find those in Lutera, or you can purchase sub-200 level gear from merchants across the continent. Finally, prepare a tanky setup for cards, Forest of Giants, plus wheel meat again. For engravings, Heavy Armor, Crisis Evasion, Emergency Rescue, Fortitude are nice. Expert and Divine Blessing can be considered. Vital Point Hit in case you need Stagger. For stats, Endurance and Swift. And that's it for how to get the new achievement title, 삼라만상, The World. Obviously, I was not able to cover all achievements since there are way too many of them. If you have any questions regarding specific achievements, you're always welcome to ask them on stream. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.